guys, if you're new to Deception Bites, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. All right, guys, I'm back and it is Friday, September 20th. And it's 9:39 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, I'm not quite as perky as I am usually because I have been on really pursuing getting my health back. And so I've cut out dairy and gluten now, and now I'm working on caffeine. So I actually feel like death on a donut. I don't know, I couldn't think of anything else, but I'm going to push through, gosh darn it. And so we are going to get into the news, the Q-related news, and we're going to do that now. I do have a couple people to thank, one person through coffee and a couple people through the mail, but I didn't bring that list over with me. Coffee, it's the caffeine. I need it, man. I really do. Do you think I'm going to make it? Sure I am. All right, let's look at this. First of all, yes, I've had to start it over again because in the midst or in the middle, well, not in the middle, but, you know, around about this point, my phone started barking. Yes, I have a ringtone with dogs barking. So I figured, yeah, I'm going to have to redo that. All right, there you go. Now, breaking, and this really is breaking because it just came over my Twitter feed a little bit ago, and it is fresh off the press today, September 20th, and breaking: over a dozen Marines charged with human smuggling. Yeah, interesting. The U.S. Marine Corps has announced that 13 Marines have been charged for their involvement in human smuggling. The accused Marines will reportedly face military court proceedings for alleged violations of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, including failure to obey an order, drunkenness, larceny, perjury, and transporting and or conspiring to transport undocumented immigrants. 2 of the Marines were arrested by Border Patrol personnel on July 3rd, 2019 for allegedly transporting undocumented immigrants. The charges come after 18 Marines and a sailor were arrested in July for alleged involvement in various illegal activities ranging from human smuggling to drug-related offenses. Yeah, now, the U.S. Marine Corps really, they're the few, the proud, the Marines. You just don't expect this kind of behavior from them. But I'm glad they've been caught, and I'm glad that they're going to face military court. Very glad, especially if they've been human smuggling, which seems to be the thing these days. Seems like every time something's in the news, it's about smuggling or trafficking. All right, so let's leave that and go back here and go on to the next one. Now, this will be interesting, and this is from yesterday, I do believe. Kombucha. Say that 10 times fast. All right, now this is actually from Wednesday, September 18th. So the truth comes out. Friend of Kavanaugh accuser, Blasey Ford, says she was threatened if she didn't go along with sexual assault lie. Interesting. The accusations of serial sexual abuse and sexual assault made against now Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh by Christine Blasey Ford, aka Tudor Ford, last year never did make any sense because the then nominee had been vetted at least a half dozen times by the FBI for various White House and federal court posts. And let's face it, no matter what we think about the FBI now, post-Obama and post-Spygate, the Bureau would have delivered previous presidents the bad news about Kavanaugh's past had it been true. No president wants to appoint a White House legal eagle or a federal judge with a documentable reputation for being nasty with the ladies, and in due time, Blasey Ford's accusations fell apart. They couldn't be substantiated. they couldn't be substantiated, and in fact, other female witnesses who lined up to make similar false claims were even referred to the Justice Department for criminal prosecution once upon a time. And what happened to those referrals, by the way? Now we learn that the Democrats' scheme to smear Kavanaugh and sabotage the nomination of a supremely qualified jurist went deeper than just the first line of fake witness. As Breitbart News reports, a friend of Blasey Ford's says she was threatened with a smear campaign as well if she refused to sign on to the lie, even though the alleged assault claim didn't make any sense to her. During various interviews and testimonies, Blasey Ford claimed that her high school friend, Leland Kaiser, was at a party in 1982 where she claims Kavanaugh sexually assaulted her. Do you remember what you were doing in 1982? I don't. All right. And, but Fox News notes further in a forthcoming book by New York Times reporter Robin Pokrebin, and Kate Kelly, titled The Education of Brett Kavanaugh, an Investigation, Kaiser was quoted as saying, "I don't have any confidence in the story. Those facts together I don't recollect, and it just doesn't make any sense." In short, Kaiser doesn't believe it. It would be impossible for me to be the only girl at a get-together with 3 guys, have her leave, and then not figure out how she's getting home, Kaiser recalled. I just didn't have confidence in the story. Kavanaugh should consider suing all of these liars for slander. I believe that as well, because the thing is, it's not just him, it's people that come after him, and he needs to set a precedent that this is not okay. It's not. So I think actually he should sue, not just for himself, but for all those who come after him. Then, on Monday, CBS News' Jan Crawford reported further that Kaiser says Ford's allies pressured her to lend credence to the sex allegations against Kavanaugh and that she'd face a smear campaign if she didn't. And Jan Crawford, we report tonight the real bombshell, Christine Ford's close high school friend, who Ford said was at the party when Kavanaugh allegedly assaulted her, said Ford's story is not believable and told the FBI Ford's allies pressured her, threatened her with a smear campaign to say otherwise. And that's in response to CBS Evening News, a new sexual misconduct allegation against SCOTUS. Justice Brett Kavanaugh fueled impeachment calls from Democratic presidential candidates. Former Yale classmates claim he exposed himself to a woman at a college party. Oh my. But none of that matters, at least to the half dozen 2020 Democratic presidential contenders, all of whom believed what turned out to be a bogus Time story from the same reporters, making the sexual assault claims anew. The latest Time story contained allegations that Kavanaugh pulled down his pants and thrust his penis at a female student during a party in college. Those claims have also since fallen apart. And I think the story actually was that his friends pushed him into making his penis go into the hands of whatever. Well, in that case, wouldn't his friends be liable? Not Kavanaugh? Just saying. But I don't think he's hanging out at a party with his pants down. I'm just saying. Anyway, one of them was Senator Kamala Harris. Oh, what a surprise. Yeah, I'm sure we're all really shocked about that. No, we're not. I sat through those hearings. Brett Kavanaugh lied to the U.S. Senate and, most importantly, to the American people, she wrote on Twitter. He was put on court through a sham process, and his place on the court is an insult to the pursuit of truth and justice. He must be impeached. Wrong and wrong. First of all, we sat through the hearings. They were televised. We all sat through the hearings. They were televised. Secondly, Democrats were responsible for staging a sham process that involved phony allegations against a well-qualified candidate for the Supreme Court simply because they didn't want Trump to stack it with constitutionalists. Trump on Sunday trashed the Times for its sham reporting. They've taken the old gray lady and broken her down, destroyed her virtue, and ruined her reputation. She can never recover and will never return to greatness under current management, he said during a rally in New Mexico. Yeah, well, there you go. And I'm glad that that has fallen apart and that the Democrats have been caught red-handed again. I wonder where that saying came from, caught red-handed. I'll have to look that up. I'm having an ADD moment. Anyway, so let's go back, because we can, and let's look at this, shall we? Well, of course we shall. Why wouldn't we? Let's look at this. Whole Foods goes full mark of the beast with hand scan payment system. Well, don't quite think that it's the mark of the beast yet, but Amazon Foods, aka Whole Foods Market, is launching a new point-of-sale system that involves scanning the physical hands of customers in order to collect payments from them. Reminiscent of the mark of the beast spoken about in the Bible, this new flesh and blood identification technology will reportedly use vision and depth geometry biometrics to process transactions based on the shapes and sizes of customers' hands. Once a customer's hand is linked up to his or her credit card on file, he or she will be able to walk right out of Whole Foods with a cart full of groceries without ever having to handle cash or cards, making the transaction entirely cashless. Codename Orville, the system will also link up to customers' Amazon Prime accounts, allowing them to simply scan their hands and have all of their Prime information immediately link up to their payment information for a seamless purchasing experience. According to internal sources, the technology is currently accurate to within 1/10,000th of 1%, but Amazon engineers are working feverishly to improve this accuracy to 1/1,000,000th of 1% to avoid potential identity fraud. If everything goes as planned, Whole Foods plan to install the hand swipe system within a handful of its stores by the beginning of next year, and eventually the technology will be unveiled at all Whole Foods locations, presumably with opposition from Whole Foods employees, which are already having trouble keeping up with Amazon's other technological changes. Now, this is interesting because you can see how close we're getting. Now, no, I'm not saying this is the mark of the beast, but it's based on the same technology that it will be based on, because the Bible says that no man will be able to buy or sell unless he has the mark of the beast system. So I do believe that there will be a form of government, worldwide government, that will institute such a thing. And we'll probably maybe have a chip in our hand, or maybe it'll scan the veins or whatever. I mean, whatever they scan, or the forehead, and we will not be able to buy or sell unless we buy into that system. So I find this particularly fascinating. I think we have to be cautious, because I know when the credit cards first came out, or the cards that you could just tap, or the debit cards where you take it right out of your, people were saying it's the mark of the beast. Well, it's not the mark of the beast. It is the technology that will eventually lead to it, and all of these things are leading up to that, but we're not there yet. But, obviously the technology is being developed and implemented. So let's go back now, because there's more. There's always more. No, really, always. Now, tell me how this grabs you, okay? And by the way, I am still working on another story, but when I started to get into it, it opened up and I realized it was connected to a lot of things that I know a lot about because of personal experience. And so it has opened up a huge rabbit trail for me, and rabbit hole, really. And I've dived down it. So now I'm all in there. And I will be bringing it to you, but I really want to be able to present it properly, or number one, I risk people not understanding the severity of what I'm saying. And number two, I risk sounding like a complete lunatic. Anyway, let's go on with this. Speaking of lunatics, robo-priest, Catholic Church could ordain sophisticated AI robots as priests. Franciscan sister proposes with the church moving towards a post-human priesthood. What could go wrong? No, really. What? And I'm sure they'll listen to you. You'll give them your confessions to them, and I'm sure they're not recording it. No, why would they do that? I don't see anything that could go wrong there. No. I do. Catholic sister suggests artificial intelligence robots could be used as priests. Theologian Elia DeLeo said robotic priests could replace or work with humans. Benefits of AI include being incapable of sexual abuse and are gender neutral. Okay, so we have to turn to robots because a priest can't keep his hands off little boys? Really? Wow. Robots have been used to read Buddhist funeral rites in Japan for some years. Oh, well, then, let's just adopt it. Yeah. Oh. How do I get out of there? Stop seeing this ad. I wish I could stop seeing all ads. I've got an ad blocker. You'd never know it. All right. So anyway, a senior Catholic sister and theologian has suggested sophisticated robots could be used as priests. Franciscan sister Elia DeLeo, who has 2 PhDs and a chair in theology at Villanova University, said the priesthood should be reimagined with robots working alongside or instead of human religious figures. DeLeo, who gives talks on theology and science around the world, said robotic priests would have certain advantages, such as being incapable of committing sexual abuse and being gender neutral. So they're incapable of finding priests that won't sexually abuse the parishioners? That's what that sounds like to me. The sister who holds the Josephine C. Connolly Endowed Chair of Theology at Villanova University added that male priests had formed a very patriarchal system, something that would be challenged by artificial intelligence. Okay. She said Catholicism has fixed ideas of what a priest is that would have to evolve as technology develops. Well, people, there's your priest right there. What could go wrong? I don't see anything could go wrong. Could it? The humanoid robot, Sophia, speaking during an event in Mexico City earlier this month, sister and theologian Elia DeLeo suggested AI will be used to conduct Catholic ceremonies. Well then, I'm sure we'll just rush right out to our local Catholic church to see the robot. Well, I'm not Catholic, but if I was, I would not enjoy having a robot as my pastor and priest. So Pepper the robot has been used to perform Buddhist funeral rites in Japan for years. Nisai Echo Company has programmed Pepper to recite sutras as part of the firm's funeral service business. Well, I'm sure that the family feels like the service is so personalized having a robot perform it. I'm sure they do feel a lot of comfort. DeLeo told Vox, take the Catholic Church. It's very male, very patriarchal, and we have the whole sexual abuse crisis. So would I want a robot priest? Maybe. A robot can be gender neutral. It might be able to transcend some of those divides and be able to enhance community in a way that's more liberating. Her comments came after a new robot priest named Mindar held a talk at Kodaji a 400-year-old Buddhist temple in Kyoto, Japan, earlier this month. Buddhist funerals have been conducted by an AI robot in Japan for some years. Robots can also perform social role in ways human priests could not, according to DeLeo. She added that humans could not fear robots replacing them, but instead view their use as a partnership. Okay. How long will it be until we're marrying robots? No, seriously. We've already got robot brothels. Oh, yes, we do. And on U.S. soil. Robot brothels. I guess for those that are really not socially adept, I guess. I don't know. But how long will it be before they'll want to claim that a human AI, can marry and have rights and privileges? I'm saying it's coming. Maybe a little ways off yet, but it's coming. DeLeo said, we tend to think in an either or framework. It's either us or the robots, but this is about partnership, not replacement. It can be a symbiotic relationship if we approach it that way. The Catholic notion would say the priest is ontologically changed upon ordination. But is that really true? We have these fixed philosophical ideas, and AI challenges those ideas. It challenges Catholicism to move towards a post-human priesthood. Other religions have used robots for religious ceremonies, with some performing funeral rites. In Japan, the option to pay a robot named Pepper to perform a funeral at a much cheaper rate has been available for years. And here's the robot. I call me crazy, but I wouldn't want my loved one. That would insult me, like big time insult me, if this robot was performing ceremony for one of my loved ones. Yeah, and I wouldn't draw much comfort from that. Okay, I wouldn't draw any comfort from it. In fact, I think I might punch the robot and possibly harm it further. But that's just me. Other people might just love it. At Beijing's Longguan Monastery in China, an android monk called Xianer has been used to recite Buddhist mantras and offer spiritual guidance. Okay, you know what? We're not going to go on with this because it's ridiculous, number one, and just the fact that we now know that this is what they plan. Yes. So, let's go back now, shall we? Because there's plenty more to get to. There's always more. All right, now, let's look at this. For all the people that are rioting because of climate change, NASA admits that climate change occurs because of changes in Earth's solar orbit and not because of SUVs and fossil fuels. Don't tell Greta Thunberg. Don't tell her. Soros is paying her, by the way. Yeah, she didn't just arise organically as somebody that had all this concern about the environment. No, she was coached and paid by Soros. And she's given airtime everywhere. Yeah, because I guess they think it's going to be more accepted receiving it from a teenager who's concerned about her future. Excuse me. All right then. Well, let's see the truth. Because that's what we're here for, isn't it? Natural news. For more than 60 years, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, has known that the changes occurring to planetary weather patterns are completely natural and normal. Well, except for the hurricanes and things that, have a little bit of help. But the space agency, for whatever reason, has chosen to let the man-made global warming hoax persist and spread to the detriment of human freedom. It was the year 1958, to be precise, when NASA first observed that changes in the solar orbit of the Earth, along with alterations to the Earth's axial tilt, are both responsible for what climate scientists today have dubbed as warming or cooling, depending on their agenda. In no way, shape, or form are humans warming or cooling the planet by driving SUVs or eating beef, in other words. But NASA has thus far failed to set the record straight and has instead chosen to sit silently back and watch as liberals freak out about the world supposedly ending in 12 years because of too much livestock or too many plastic straws. Cow farts. No, they did used to claim that it was all the methane from the cows that were heating the planet. Yeah. Even back then, I was like, what? I mean, really, it's laughable. So in the year 2000, NASA did not publish information on its Earth Observatory website about the Milankovitch climate theory, revealing that the planet is, in fact, changing due to extraneous factors that have absolutely nothing to do with human activity. But again, this information has yet to go mainstream some 19 years later, which is why deranged climate-obsessed leftists have now begun to claim that we really only have 18 months left before the planet dies from an excess of carbon dioxide. Oh, and by the way, Greta Thunberg, her parents claim that she can see CO2 with the naked eye. It doesn't get any crazier than that. Really. And I bet you there's people out there going, oh, she's gifted. Really. So, the truth, however, is much more along the lines of what Siberian astrophysicist Milankovitch, after whom the Milankovitch climate theory is named, proposed about how the seasonal and latitudinal variations of solar radiation that hit the Earth in different ways and at different times have the greatest impact on Earth's changing climate patterns. So there you go. That's from NASA. Oh, but we can't believe NASA. We can't believe NASA over Greta Thunberg, a 16-year-old. Who's being paid by Soros. No, she's far more believable than NASA. Now, I don't particularly ascribe to everything NASA says either, but come on. The below two images by Robert Simon, NASA, GSFC, help to illustrate this, with the first showing the Earth at a nearly zero orbit and the second showing Earth at a 0.07 orbit. This orbital change is depicted by the eccentric oval shape in the second image, which has been intentionally exaggerated for the purpose of showing the massive change in distance that occurs between the Earth and the Sun, depending on whether it is at perihelion or aphelion. So there's that, and there's that. Even maximum eccentricity of the Earth's orbit, 0.07, it would be impossible to show the resolution of a web page, notes the Hal Turner radio show. Even so, at the current eccentricity of 0.17, the Earth is 5 million kilometers closer to the Sun at perihelion than at aphelion. For the related news about climate change and global weather from an independent, non-established perspective, be sure, oh my gosh, I can't talk tonight. Be sure to check out climatesciencenews.com. So that is an independent source. It is not mainstream media. climatesciencenews.com. The biggest factor affecting Earth's climate is the sun. As for the Earth's obliquity, or its change in axial tilt, the below two images, Robert Simon, NASA, show the degree to which the Earth can shift on both its axes and its rotational orientation. At the higher tilts, the Earth's seasons become much more extreme, while at the lower tilts, they become much more mild. A similar situation exists for Earth's rotational axis, which, depending on which hemisphere is pointed at the sun during perihelion, can greatly impact the seasonal extremes between the two hemispheres. All right, well, I'm not going to read any more of this because, but if you are interested in it, please view that website. And again, it is climatesciencenews.com, an independent source. All right, now let's go on because there's more to get to. There's always more. Now, let's look at this. It's a little odd, but let's look at it. It's odd, but not really. Bombshell, global geoengineering, chemtrails experiment pushed by Bill Gates, also funded by Nazi-linked Alfred P. Sloan Foundation, linked to eugenics and depopulation. Now, how many of us are surprised by that? Right, none. I knew that. You knew that too. No, okay, well, maybe I should, take, a poll or something. Okay, could you raise your hands if you actually think that chemtrails are just, contrails from jets and they're absolutely no harm to them? They don't harm the environment. They don't harm us. Could you raise your hand? I don't see any. I don't see any. Unless maybe somebody way in the back. I don't know. But anyway, let's go on. The mainstream media is now openly pushing geoengineering and chemtrails as a solution for so-called global warming, which of course is a complete hoax to begin with. Globalist propaganda network CNBC has just released a new video, which is blatant infomercial for chemtrails, touting the benefits of polluting the skies with calcium carbonate and sulfur dioxide, two pollutants that would devastate life on Earth. Matt Agorist from the Free Thought Project published an informative write-up. The project is called SCOPEX, and it is being masterminded by the who's who of eugenicists and depopulation pushers at the highest levels of world government and academia. It is funded and endorsed by Bill Gates. There's a surprise. For example, who openly calls for reducing the human population by billions. We've covered this extensively on Natural News, warning how Bill Gates is funding a plan to carry out planetary genocide. As I explained in videos at oblivionagenda.com, this SCOPEX project would pollute the skies across the entire planet, dim the sun, impair photosynthesis, and lead to a collapse of the global biosphere. This, of course, would lead to mass starvation around the world as food crops fail and famine sets in. This is the goal of the project, by the way, not an unintended side effect. Same Alfred P. Sloan Foundation that censored Vaccine Truth also funded SCOPEX project to commit planetary genocide. In the video shown below via YouTube, the nonprofit organizations involved in funding this project are listed. Among those funding the project at none other than the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation. And it says sponsored solution from CWC Labs. This heavy metals test kit allows you to test almost anything for 20 plus heavy metals and nutritive minerals, including lead, mercury, arsenic, cadmium, aluminum, and more. You can test your own hair, vitamins, well water, garden soil, superfoods, pet hairs, beverages, whatever. So if you go to naturalhealth.com, there is a kit there that allows you to test. But here is the funding for this project, and here it is, the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation. And let's see if there's any other here that I notice. I don't think so, but you need to get familiar with his name because Alfred P. Sloan has long sought to carry out mass murder of human beings, as published on naturalnews.com in 2016. Industrialist Alfred P. Sloan, as head of General Motors, was a Nazi collaborator and ardent admirer of Hitler. Sloan's hatred of blacks was almost as intense as his hatred of Jews. He had a close connection with the eugenics movement, which eventually became the Human Genome Project. Sloan Foundation, together with the Rockefeller's Nexus, held a long-standing interest in population reduction, including their involvement with the introduction of mysterious new vaccines, together with the World Health Organization, which has stated policy of which has a stated policy of population reduction as clearly set forth in Agenda 21. If you are not aware of what Agenda 21 is, you should make yourself aware. It is more than I can get to now, but it is something that will alarm you. And it is not out there. It's not conspiracy theory. It is conspiracy fact. So it was also the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation that pressured the Tribeca Film Institute to sponsor the film Vaxxed, which exposed the truth about vaccines and infertility, spontaneous abortions, and the deliberate damaging of children and adults with toxic substances added to vaccines. Sloan and the World Health Organization have been repeatedly linked to vaccines that are spiked with HCG, an infertility chemical. Also reprinted on national news, this seemingly altruistic Sloan Foundation has also funded the Community Blood Council of Greater New York, Inc., which allowed more than 10,000 hemophiliacs and countless others to become fatally infected with HIV/AIDS. Moreover, the Sloan Foundation held 24,000 to 53,000 shares issued by Merck & Company, whose president, George W. Merck, was director of America's biological weapons industry and whose hepatitis C and polio vaccines have been suspected of transmitting AIDS and who knows what else. The Sloan Foundation is currently headed by a globalist named Paul Joskow, member of the Council on Foreign Relations, a global elite group with deep ties to depopulation advocate Bill Gates, who also awards large grants to numerous websites that agree to publish pro-vaccine propaganda. So now you know the truth about the SCOPEX project, which will also drop enormous quantities of lead, the heavy metal, onto the world's crops, soils, and oceans. This project is nothing less than the mass genocide of humanity funded by Bill Gates and 14 nonprofit organizations, or foundations rather, as listed here. J. Barker Foundation, the Blue Marble Fund, O.W. Casperson Foundation, T.H.W. Crow's Nest Foundation, the William and Flora Hewlett Foundation, Constance C. and Linwood A. Lacey Jr. Foundation, the Open Philanthropy Project, Pritzker Innovation Fund, Ronin Private Investment, LLC, the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation, the Tansy Foundation, Teza Technologies, Volo Foundation, the Weatherhead Center for International Affairs. Watch the chemtrails infomercial from CNBC, which now openly admits they want to pollute the skies, just as we've been warning you for years. That's why we launched Terraforming News and Geoengineering News. This is Adolf Hitler times 1,000 in terms of the genocide being carried out here. Billions of people will die, which is the goal. Now, this is the commercial. I'm not sure how long it is, but it's 10 minutes.
The record number of fires burning across Brazil's Amazon.
So I'm going to leave the link to this article, okay? I'm going to leave it as the first pinned comment so that you can look at this yourself, follow the links, and find this information for yourself. The real agenda is the annihilation of... Now you know why they have to desperately try to label natural news fake news or conspiracy, because yesterday's conspiracy is today's Harvard science project funded by eugenics advocates who want to murder 6 billion people or more. Just 2 years ago, chemtrails were derided as a conspiracy theory. Now CNBC is running puff pieces promoting it. The real agenda is the annihilation of humankind. This is why we've launched OblivionAgenda.com to explain the truth about the globalist agenda to destroy humanity. It's no longer science fiction, it's science fact. Yeah, I've been, tuned into chemtrails for, probably 15 years. I didn't want to believe it either. I really didn't. And I remember one day just watching these planes, and we weren't even in the path where I was up in the mountains in North Carolina, and not even in the path, in the flight path of anywhere. And these planes just descended on the area, went back and forth with the crisscrosses in the sky, and literally blotted out the sun. It was a nice sunny day. And within 3 hours, the sun was completely blotted out. And I thought, okay, that's not, contrails. There's something else going on here. And why? So that was my awakening into that. So let's go on here. I think we have a little bit more time. So let's look at this, because this too is interesting. Facebook created over 100 pro-ISIS pages, meantime censoring conservatives. Now, all of us, you have to be living under a rock to not know that conservatives are being, censored everywhere, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, anywhere. Any social media platform is being heavily censored at this time. So I find it interesting that they created over 100 pro-ISIS pages, but they somehow find conservative thoughts offensive. Interesting. Not only offensive, but dangerous. But not ISIS. No, they're okay. While still facing criticism over the censorship of conservatives, Facebook was walloped by a report this month that documented hundreds of pro-terrorist pages created by the social media giant itself. The report came in the form of September 12th update to the National Whistleblower Center's assessment of criminal and terrorist activity on social media. Nearly 200 auto-generated business pages for the Islamic State were recently identified, the report reads, and dozens more pages for other terrorist groups, including Al-Qaeda and Ansar al-Sharia, remain on the site. Some of the vile pages carry names that one might think should trigger a lightning-fast response from Facebook's supposedly sophisticated algorithm, including I Love Islamic State, Afghanistan Terrorist School, and Islamic State Training Camp. It can't be stressed enough that these are not pages created by individuals that happen to slip past Facebook's algorithm, but rather pages auto-generated by the social media platform itself. Curious. Curiouser and curiouser. Facebook's response to the controversy downplayed the significance of the pro-terrorism pages. Our priority is detecting and removing content posted by people that violates our policy against dangerous individuals and organizations to stay ahead of bad actors, a Facebook spokesperson told the Associated Press. Auto-generated pages are not like normal Facebook pages, as people can't comment or post on them, and we remove any that violate our policies. While we cannot catch everyone, we remain vigilant in this effort, the spokesperson said. Sure you do. Sure you do, Facebook. We believe you. Really we do. Thousands wouldn't, but we do. No, we don't. John Kostiak, executive director at the National Whistleblower Center, is unconvinced that Facebook's reliance on algorithms is the magic bullet that social media giant insists it is. Facebook would like us to believe that its magical algorithms are somehow scrubbing its website of extremist content, Kostiak told the AP. Yet those very same algorithms are auto-generating pages with titles like I Love Islamic State, which are ideal for terrorists to use for networking and recruiting. These revelations would be sickening by themselves, but they come at a time when Facebook is still engaged in outright censorship of conservative viewpoints. How do you like that, people? Your views get censored heavily. Unless you agree with whatever the narrative of the day is. If you agree with that, you'll be fine. But if you come against that or oppose it in any way, well, you're gone. But meanwhile, they're auto-generating pages that are pro-ISIS. Wow, Facebook. Wow. Yeah, whoops. A little too soon there. Yeah, these revelations, okay, I just read that. It boils down to this. While Facebook lets pro-terrorism pages stay up for extended periods of time, the platform has no problem removing a post from Angel Mom Mary Ann Mendoza. True. It's not just everyday citizens who are getting punished by Facebook either. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's own page was hit by the social media giant and had a vital feature turned off shortly before a crucial and close election. Oh, I'm sure that was just an oversight, an accident, a pure accident. I'm sure Facebook didn't mean anything by that. Oh, they think we are all freaking stupid. They do. They really, really do. And I find that offensive because we are the ones making money for them. Yet they think we're stupid. Yeah. So, Facebook undoubtedly has the power. The page was found guilty of posting hate speech according to Facebook's guideline. Facebook undoubtedly has the power to shape culture and politics across the world through its selective censorship, and this recent revelation of auto-generated pro-terrorism pages is even more worrying. The social media company is currently attempting to win back public favor and appease lawmakers, but it's becoming clear Facebook can't be trusted to police public discussion, let alone itself. Yeah, that's right. And I think we all agree with that. It's pretty evident to all of us. Now, I want to show you this. It's one of those feel-good stories, and we don't get enough of that. Hero Canine finds missing age 3 boy with autism in just 28 minutes. Most people have strong associations with certain dog breeds: Golden Retriever, Family Dog, German Shepherd, Canine, St. Bernard, Avalanche Rescue, or Beethoven. Bloodhound, tracking. Bloodhounds, being scent hounds, have a valuable asset in their nose. They'd love to sniff and wander and are a huge breed that can go for miles, giving them a somewhat negative reputation as a pet that is strong-willed and will ignore all else to follow a scent. The same characteristics that make them potentially troublesome housemates make them excellent working dogs, and they're naturally suited to tracking specific scents and finding lost people. On September 15th, one of the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's canines, a bloodhound of course, proved its tracking prowess when it found a lost child in dense woods in under half an hour. Young Adric of Santa Rosa County, Florida, only 3 years old, has autism and got away from his grandmother on the evening of September 15th. He took his opportunity while Grandma was using the bathroom. She deadbolted the front door, but the clever young boy unlocked it, and away he went. Heading for the woods, he was soon lost from view and did not come back. His mother, Audra Hughes, was terrified when she learned about her son's disappearance. The most terrifying words a mother can get on the phone is, "Your child is missing, get home right now," she said, according to the Miami Herald. While law enforcement scoured the area behind the home for 2 hours, they couldn't find the 3-year-old. And here they are actually exiting the woods, and you can see he's all dirty, and the officers carrying him. I mean, this is just heartwarming to me because this could have ended very, very badly. So they called in backup in the form of one of the department's 4-legged officers with no specific information about the particular canine. While no specific information about the particular canine was offered other than it was a bloodhound, the dog was present at the news conference the next morning after it did its good and necessary work. Sheriff Bob Johnson and the diligent dog found Adric within minutes. Once the dog hit the ground, it was 28 minutes until we got the child, he said. Hughes said that the news was the best news I'd ever heard in my life. Her son was back in her arms, scraped up and bug-bitten, but healthy and whole. Santa Rosa County District 1 posted photos to Facebook to commend the sheriff's office and their bloodhounds. Ooh, I'm getting teary-eyed. And there's the boy. Great job, Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office. They posted on their Facebook page. Their bloodhounds found a missing 3-year-old autistic boy who was lost in the woods today. Thank you to everyone else that came out to help with this effort. During the news conference the next day, Adric was presented with a giant stuffed animal wearing a shirt, which will no doubt help him remember the happy ending to what could have been a tragic event. And really, it could have been, because he obviously was very lost and wasn't going to make it out on his own. He was 25 minutes in to the to the wooded area. So that would have and could have ended very badly. So I just thought that was very heartwarming, and I can only imagine the joy of both the mother and the grandmother. And this is the dog that did that. So, and probably was a shelter dog at one point. So good work. We love our four-legged friends for sure, and especially dogs are, I think we take it for granted what they do for us, really. There's a lot of working dogs, and we couldn't do the jobs that they do without them. So anyway, alrighty, now let's go back and we'll see what else, because I think I've got a little bit more time here. And yeah, this is interesting. This is by Wyatt. Kevin Spacey was given highest honor that the UK royal family could give a non-subject. He's 100% a pedo ringmaster. It's not that there's a secret cabal of elites that entertain eyes wide shut, but that they no longer really feel the need to hide it behind many layers of proxies. No, they really don't. I can't remember what this is, but let's take a look at it. Probably something good, or not. Oh, yes. Bill Gates, on Epstein flight logs. Epstein flew Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey, to Africa, to tour HIV/AIDS project. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, AIDS in Africa. Clinton Foundation, HIV/AIDS initiative. Diseases created by families in power. And we know that that is the case. So this is interesting. Bill and Kevin talking about the time they flew with Jeffrey Epstein on his private jet, and it's here. It says President William J. Clinton, and it says Kevin Spacey, big as all outdoors there, and Chris Tucker, JEJM. Don't know who they are, but, and here we go. There's I think that's Bill Gates there, if I'm not mistaken, a younger Bill Gates, or I could be wrong. But here is Bill with a young boy here. And there they are together, the Clinton Global Initiative. Yeah, they like the black skin because of there's a difference in the adrenochrome. So I don't know, but I've read that in several places. And I tried to say that before, but there was a few people that kind of poo-pooed me and said, oh, that's ridiculous. But hey, that's what they say. So I'm just passing on. And here's flight logs, Bill Gates. Yeah, these people are all cozy together. And this says exclusive, a dozen FBI agents raid Jeffrey Epstein's island, pulling up to his Caribbean. Okay, well, we've seen this before. This is nothing new. We know that the FBI raided. Now, what they did, what they took, I don't know. Because I still find that whole scenario very puzzling. Very puzzling indeed. And I would bet that you do too. So these are just more from, and this is, it says Prince Andrew's Epstein girl. Prince Andrew's Epstein girl was paraded at VIP parties. Images show Virginia Roberts, who claims she was Jeffrey Epstein's teenage sex slave, partying on yacht with Naomi Campbell and Flavio Briatore. Naomi Campbell is on the Epstein flight logs. And so let's take a look at this. Well, I don't want to go to the Daily Mail because I get inundated with, it's ridiculous how many ads they have on there. But this is the picture. And there is Naomi Campbell. There is Ghislaine, and who the heck that is, I don't know. But anyway, I don't think I'm going to continue with this because a lot of this we already know. And it says New Mexico ranch where he hoped to seed human race with his DNA by impregnating women. Notice the fertility gods. These people worship Satan. Yes, they do. No question about that. And wow, bizarre, did Epstein have painting of Bill Clinton wearing a blue dress and red heels and lounging in the Oval Office inside his Manhattan mansion? Yes, he did. So anyway, I think we've hit on all of that in the past, so there's no reason to revisit it until there is new information. But let's come down here and see what else we have. This is a little bit, I'd say it's odd, but it's beyond odd, and it may give you nightmares tonight, I'm just saying. Yeah. But, you know, I have to play it. Excuse me. Skin-crawling discovery. Body farm scientists find corpses move. Yeah. Well, who knew? An Australian scientist has proved that human bodies move around significantly for more than a year after death in findings that could have implications for detectives and pathologists around the world. After studying and photographing the movements of a corpse over 17 months, Alison Wilson told AFB on Friday that she found humans don't exactly rest in peace. In one case study, arms that began held close to the body ended up flung out to the side. We think the movements relate to the process of decomposition as the body mummifies and the ligaments dry out, she said. To carry out her unusual form of people watching, Wilson took a 3-hour flight from Cairns to Sydney every month to check on the progress of a cadaver. Her subject was one of 70 bodies stored at the Southern Hemisphere's only body farm, which sits at a secret bushland location on the outskirts of Australia's largest city. Officially known as the Australian Facility for Taphomonic Experimental Research, the farm is carrying out pioneering research into post-mortem movement. Wilson and her colleagues are trying to improve a commonly used system for estimating the time of death using time-lapse cameras, and in the process found that human bodies actually move around significantly. Her findings were recently published in the journal Forensic Science International, Synergy. A better understanding of these movements and the rate of decomposition could be used by police to estimate time of death more accurately. She hopes the knowledge could, for example, narrow down the number of missing persons that could be linked to an identified corpse. A better understanding of postmortem movement could also help to reduce the incorrect cause of death or misinterpretation of a crime scene. They'll map a crime scene. They'll map the victim's body position. They'll map any physical evidence which is found, and they can understand the cause of death. The CQ University criminology graduate said she started her unique project after a trip to Mexico to help classify Mayan-era skeletal remains. I was fascinated with the death from a child and was always interested in how the body breaks down after death. I guess that comes about after being raised on a farm and seeing livestock die and watching that process, she said. Once I observed movement in a previous study, I started researching and couldn't find anywhere in the world that looks at quantifying the movement. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. Well, have at it, sweetheart, because I don't think there's anybody else that wants to do it. I don't. I think that's a little bit too grisly for me, but I'm glad there are others that can do that type of work, I guess. So there you are. Now it is, I think I have gone for an hour, so I think I am going to stop here. I did want to do 2 videos tonight, but I'm sorry to disappoint you. I just can't. I am so worn out. Like, I just did not realize that caffeine made that much difference in our body. But I will do my very, very best tomorrow. I will be back tomorrow. I will do my best, and I will continue to work on the other story that I'm working on to bring that to you at some point. It will take an entire video to flesh out. So anyway, that's it for tonight. You guys stay safe, stay well. Thank you guys. Thank you so much to my Patreon supporters and those that support me through coffee. I can't do this without you, and I appreciate it. So thank you so much, and I will hope to see you all tomorrow. Have a wonderful night. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and you got it. Keep seeking truth. Good night.